Hello friends, my name is Marina and this is Rapunzel Fiber Arts. Today we are going to be processing some fiber, but it's going to be a little bit different than what we've done in the past because usually we're processing something from raw fleece and then carding or combing it to make it spinnable. And today we're going to be taking some already processed merino top in a variety of colors. Well, not that wide of a variety. Here, I'll show you. We've got some grays, a black, and this purple. And then we've got some white sparkles and some white silk oil. But the real star of this show, my friends, is the sari silk oil. This is some beautiful rainbow sari silk oil that I have. It kind of leans pinkish, but I'll show you. When it's all carded up, it's not all that pink. It's very rainbowy and creates this really fun tweedy spinning fiber, which creates a tweedy yarn, which is super, super fun. So we're going to take that fiber that I showed you, sort it into batches. I do 1 ounce batches, and then card it on my drum carder and then pull it off into little tubes like this. This is kind of crumpled. It's been in storage for a while, but this is what we're making. These are called Rolags. They are little tubes of fiber. It's kind of hard to see, but I put 2 dowels through here and that creates a tube. It'll become clear when I show you how I do it. It's a little bit confusing to try to describe, but it's really cool. It's really fun. It's a super great way to create a new kind of spinning fiber, and the product is really, really pretty. If you're curious as to what this looks like spun up and knit up, my friend Lauren over at Valkyrie Fibers is making a sweater right now out of this colorway of my Rolags, which I'm super excited about because she's knitting it up and it looks so pretty. I love seeing my projects that I've worked on kind of grow up and go to their future homes, and it's really exciting to see her spinning and knitting it up into something that she's excited about and I'm really enthusiastic about as well. So I will link her Instagram down below if you're interested in seeing the projects that she works on, including a sweater that she's knitting up out of my Rolags. This colorway is called Chaos Theory. It's from one of my favorite movies of all time. If you know the reference, comment down below and let me know that you are also a fan. And so yeah, we're gonna sort these, card them, and create some really, really pretty Rolags. So let's do that. All right, friends, so I am set up here at my desk. I've got my recipe book, which I record all of my colorways so I can recreate them. I've got all of my fiber here in front of me, and over here I have bins. I love reusing these fluff containers because they sit perfectly on my scale, and it's a cute little pun about fluff. Anyway, so I'm going to take our first color of merino, and we need 0.3 ounces of this. So I'm going to go ahead and weigh that out. And then I'm just going to approximate using length of the fiber. And that should be right around 0.3 ounces, which it is. And then we put that in our first fluff container over here. So we're going to repeat that with this color of merino and then with the following colors of merino and other materials. And I have 8 of these fluff containers set up because that's the batch size I like to work in. 8 ounces is pretty manageable. I can do that in a day or two, depending on my energy level. And that's 4 lots that I put in my shop because I do 2-ounce batches for sale. So I'm going to carry on doing this, speed up the video a little bit so that you're not here for hours with me, and we will carry on. All right. All right, friends. So here I am just pulling apart the rest of this black merino, getting it all sorted into the 8 different fluff containers that I have here. And now that I have finished that, we're moving on to this purple merino, which I had the perfect amount left of. So I just divided this evenly into 8ths. And that gave me the perfect amount of that, and I was able to sort it all very quickly. This merino took a little bit longer. This is the darker gray merino, which I am just carefully sorting out into bins. This takes a little bit of time just to get everything organized, but batching your work like this, as I've mentioned before, does speed things along. Just makes things a little bit easier and a little bit quicker in the long run. And here I have the lighter gray, which I'm weighing out and sorting, getting all organized for the carding process. And after this, we'll be moving on to some of the add-ins. This is the extras that aren't merino. I use merino as my base fiber because it's very soft and pretty accessible. Most people like merino, and it's nice and next to skin soft, so they can use it for a nice wide variety of garments. But I always like to have some fun stuff. So here's some carbonized bamboo, which is nice and shiny like silk. And this is some silk. This is some black tussa silk that I am just getting sorted out. I like adding luxury fibers to my Rolags. It just adds a little bit of fun and some interesting variation in colors and some interest in textures and shine and stuff like that. And here we get into some really fun textures. This is some silk noil, which is a waste product of making processed silk top, I believe. And it's short bits and kind of carded pieces of silk. And here is some of the sari silk noil, which is also a waste product, this time of sari silk garments, I believe. And I am just going to go ahead and get that evenly sorted into my 8 different bins. This is going to add that tweedy pop of color to our Rolags, which make them so fun. So now that I've done that, I think, oh no, we've got one more thing to add. We've got to add our sparkles. Sparkles are super fun. I don't add a ton because a little bit goes a long way, but I do like adding sparkle to a lot of my Rolag colorways. All right, friends. So here are the contents of one batch of these Rolags. We've got merino in a variety of colors, 2 grays, a purple, and a black. We've got some carbonized bamboo, some tussa silk, some rainbow sari silk noil, and some white silk noil, and sparkles. And that's what's going to be in each batch of our Rolags. Hello, friends. All right. So now we're back with our drum carder, and I wanted to talk to you about some differences that we're going to see carding these Rolags as opposed to carding fleece. So first of all, we're not feeding in here below the small drum. we are going to be doing something called painting onto the big drum, which is just when you crank, you're just holding the fiber on top here and letting these tines grab the fiber and pull it directly onto the big drum. This prevents us from losing any of our material into the small drum. Since all of this is processed fiber, we're not worried about losing shortcuts or second cuts or dirty bits into the small drum. And so all that would do is suck up those small bits of silk noil and nep that we want to incorporate into the big drum. So we're going to be doing something called painting directly onto the big drum. We also are going to start by laying down a base layer of merino. This is something I've learned from trial and error. If you go directly down with sparkles or silk or noil, it's not going to get picked back up when you pull this off the carder. It's going to stay stuck deep in those tines. So putting a layer of merino down helps kind of collect those bits while still having them visible when you pull them off. Because when you pull Rolags off the carder, you are making the layer that is first on the carder on the outside of your Rolags. Also, if you hear snoring, it's not me, it's my dog. He's being a noisy sleeper, so I apologize for that. But yeah, that's the differences in carding that we're going to be doing today compared to some of my other videos. And I wanted to just walk you through that before we got started so that you weren't too confused or anything like that. So we are going to get started carding now, which is great. That's the fun part.
Alright friends, so here I am laying down that first layer of merino that I talked to you about, which is important to put down so that you don't get stuff caught in the carding teeth. And then here I go laying down the first layer of sari silk noil. And then I'm going to change the angle so you can kind of see the carding cloth as I turn the carder. And you can see the buildup of materials. So there I put on some white sari silk. Now I'm putting on some of that black silk noil. Now I'm putting on some of that carbonized bamboo, which is a gray, and some sparkles. So I'm just going to continue building up layers of this. Now I'm doing our colored merinos. The gray, or the light gray, the purple, and our darker gray. Just painting these directly onto that big drum on the carder. And then doing a layer all over of this black merino before starting over with our add-ins again. I like to do about 2 layers of each, or 2 full repeats of all of those layers. I find that having lots of layers makes for really well blended Rolags, which I find very, very pleasant to spin. So I am just repeating that process, doing the other merinos and silks over again, just filling the carder with the full 1 ounce of fiber until I have done the last layer and it's ready to be pulled off.
Alright friends, so now this is all done being carded. You saw us building up layers, and now when we pull this off, you're going to be able to kind of see those layers as I remove it. So let's grab our tool right here. I fold this down, you can see some of the color that's buried in there now. All right, friends, so this is all carded. So what I'm gonna do now is remove these Rolags. But if I start yanking on this, it's gonna roll. So what I need to do is reduce the, or increase the friction on this. And the way that I'm gonna do that is take these little door stops or things that you put under your furniture. If you can see, it's the little triangle on the side. So you can like put it under your furniture to level it out. And these are some kind of rubber, I think. And what I do is I put these right here, and they help prevent this from rolling. And then what I do is I take my 2 dowels, I tuck one under and put one over, go to the end, and start to roll. And this is how you make Rolags. You roll, but you also want to pull a little bit. So I'm tugging gently while I roll until I've made a Rolag. And then you take this and you close your hand over it and rotate to kind of get those floofs under control. And then you slide it off one and then the other dowel. And then you have a Rolag. It's kind of hard to see the colors of this, but we've got some hot pink, we've got some yellow, got some red, some green. And as you spin this and pull from the end, you're just going to unearth more and more beautiful colors to make a gray yarn with these rainbow Tweety bits. And now we're just going to continue removing these. So I am going to go to the end and then start to roll. Tugging gently to kind of loosen up the fibers. And then rolling in my hand to get them all secure, all the fibers secured so that none are sticking out. And then I'm just going to pull this off. And there's another Rolag. I'm going to take one of these white boxes, which I got from an old place I used to work. And they are the perfect size to fill with Rolags. You can see it's exactly the length of a Rolag. So I'm just going to continue this process, pulling off these Rolags until I have completely emptied my drum carder.
Alright friends, so as I said, I am just going to continue pulling Rolags off of the carder, rolling and pulling or drafting apart those fibers to blend and just make it a really, really smooth spinning material, a really pleasant and airy product to work with. I'm not trying to sell my products to you. I'm trying to describe the way that they are. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I'm just going to carry on doing this until I have completely cleared the carder of material. It usually takes me 7 to 9 Rolags to empty the carder. You can use the dowels to kind of fluff up the ends like I just did there, and I will just continue doing this until I am out of material, and then I will fill the carder again and repeat.
All right, friends. So this is what we made with about 1 ounce of materials. You can see we have some really nice neutrals with those beautiful pops of color. I'm very happy. I haven't made Rolags in a couple months and I think I missed it. These are so much fun to make and so beautiful to spin with too. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm gonna keep carding, but I finished a batch, so I think that's enough for today. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you get some crafting in, maybe blend some fibers if you want. You can also do this on a blending board if you don't have an expensive drum carder. So I hope you have a great day, do some crafting, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, friends.